I tell you, I've always said it, life at the end of the day is pretty darn simple. You can go one of two ways. You can go this way. Or you can go this way, towards PVF, Perfect Vinyl Forever. And welcome to another show at SonicFlare. Today's video, really cool. As you guys remember from my last video, I was on this gigantic trek cross country, 7,000+ miles in about 6 weeks, where I went to visit a couple of friends and stopped along the way of places like Perfect Vinyl Forever with Steve Evans. You guys remember he has been a couple of times on the show. I'll drop some links to some videos below, and he's also been around with other YouTubers over the last year or two, so feel free to watch those episodes as well. So if you're new to Perfect Vinyl Forever, Steve Evans has basically, I can legitimately say it, reinvented the process of cleaning and transforming and restoring records, right? Used records as well as new records. And he started this with his process 1.0, which now has morphed up to level 4.0. And he also added a disaster recovery mode to it, which I generally use for used records. For example, like this Lonnie Liston Smith, right? Which is incredible. Cosmic Echoes. And so if I take this record out, he's got these awesome stickers with really cool double super heavy duty sleeves. But you see two stickers on here. There is the first sticker and then there's the second sticker. And the first sticker denotes that this was disaster recovery cleaned or processed. And as you will see in the video, it's a remarkable process that he's developed over time to really get rid of gunk, grime, all that stuff that's baked into the record. Now, of course, if the record's damaged to begin with, whether it's a new or a used record, there's obviously nothing he can do. He's not a magician. But it is truly remarkable what happens with his disaster recovery process. That said, if we then look at the second sticker, the 4.0 sticker, that denotes that this is his latest transformative improvement to records. Again, new or used records. And it works every time it's tried. The process is incredible. You will see it in this video. And let me tell you something. Again, this is not an infomercial. I'm not being paid by Steve to say any of this. And you can obviously try him out yourself and see what you think of it. But this to me is generally the most transformative record cleaning process that I've ever witnessed and seen. So with that, enjoy this video. And by the way, I love that XTC that I was cleaning on my degritter at home, which of course, is perfect to use for a light, heavy-duty cleaning. If you don't want to go down the PVF route, my suspicion is once you go to PVF route, you're going to be quickly going through your stash trying to figure out, okay, which records am I going to send to Steve and which ones I'm going to clean at home. So there's obviously that too. Anyway, enjoy the video. Thanks for tuning in. Ciao. And there's, I don't know if I'll dub this with music or not. Nice. So this thing goes on top. Wow. How many of these can you stack up?
8.
8. Gotcha.
Which is why all of our orders are in multiples of 8.
Oh, that's a sealed one. Ooh, we're opening a sealed copy. Oh, this is definitely gonna be
Listen, we're gonna let all the dollars come out. You just lost 50% of the value of this record.
Minimum. Oh my gosh. A brand new record from 1950, 56, 57, whenever the hell it was released. What does the back say? Oh my gosh, look at that. We're opening and unsealing. I think it's 56.
It's not popping on it.
Incredible. Look at that cover, man. Oh, look at that gloss factor. Ooh, nice. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, a sealed record has been sealed. It's 2023.
Look at these. I wonder if that's some form of mold.
Probably.
Either that some pigment on the original inner.
Yep. Wow. Wow. This is a record, ladies and gentlemen, that has been sealed for more than 60 years. And we just opened it. Steve, why did you open the record? Ah!
We're gonna let all the sound out.
Oh no! How am I gonna sleep tonight?
All right, so once you have 8 records racked and spaced,
Yep.
all the records are protected by an O-ring that sits right outside of the label on the
Yep.
dead wax.
Wow.
And then we
Yep, completely covers the dead wax.
seal
Wow.
space, and then we compress.
Wow.
And these records will soak probably for 12 hours or so.
Yes.
So what do you connect with when you listen to music? What is your emotional triggers that separate awesome albums, amazing albums from, not bad?
That's a great question. I think it has to be, well, to your point, emotional connection. So the last 2 albums, Joe Puma and I believe Johnny Smith, guitar sound, that's just absolutely amazing. Jazz guitar sound, I should say. And I just love it. I really love jazz guitar.
Okay.
This last record that you just pulled out, actually, funny enough, I have no clue who this is. I fell in love with the cover.
Yeah.
I love Dot Records. The label is fantastic. Good sounding stuff generally. I've got a couple, but I fell in love with the cover. I mean, how could you not? To Soothe the Savage. Hot Chiquita next to a teddy bear lion, right? I mean, it's like $5. How can I not buy this, right? So the emotional connection on this, in this instance, is literally the record cover.
Okay, so you can get
Can you measure that?
your heart rate, your other
right.
involuntary
Yes,
male
yes,
responses.
That's exactly right. Yes. Now, on something like this, I mean, Dave Brubeck, Blue Fantasy, or excuse me, Fantasy, stereo no less, because the red ones were all mono. Look at that. Ooh. So this is the follow-up to the famous Brubeck Desmond record that came out before this, obviously. And it's killer. By the way, this is trash.
Oh, yeah, you don't consider it.
Nah, this is garbage. By the way, folks, this is all trash. Now you're pulling a Lonnie Smith from 1976. That is absolutely bonkers jazz fusion 70s Lonnie Smith classic. That's just unbelievable.
And it's pressed at QRP.
yeah. I mean, imagine that. Wow, Chad. He had his hands in it.
The machine must be working easy.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's an RCA. Pressed, I don't know where. Who knows where? Is it Dynaflex? Does it wobble around when you? Yeah,
It's thin, but it's not. Yeah. It's not.
It's not quite. It's not quite Dynaflex. It's a predecessor to Dynaflex.
1976.
Yeah, absolutely incredible record. So the emotional connection there, it's just a freaking amazing record. Absolutely incredible. I mean, we'll play it tomorrow, and it's just amazing.
Performance, sound quality.
Oh, stunning. The sound quality is stunning. QRP goes in the trash. Oh, QRP goes in the MoFi stash. Yeah, we're
or donate some of the takeout sleeves
Nice.
that have some value to local record stores.
Nice. Now that, again, Herbie Mann, flautista, obviously Herbie Mann, the great flute player, playing Afro-Cuban themes or Afro themes. Stunning. I think 57, if I'm not mistaken. Did I catch that right? Can we see that?
I see 59.
59, yeah, okay, so it's 59. Wow. Killer record. Absolutely killer. Anything having to do with Afro jazz is in my stash. Stunning. Amazing stuff. And that one's on Verve. Emotional connection, off the charts. 12 out of 10. Turn it up to 12. Nice. Lionel Hampton live in Paris. What was your observation? Nice. Killer cover, by the way. I mean, just look at that. They just don't make records like that anymore.
So when you see vintage records like this in their original sleeve, anytime you see the polyline sleeve,
Okay.
and there's wrinkling, that means that the plastic has been off-gassing, and that off-gas will affect the surface of the record. So if you take a look at the surface of this record, it's quite cloudy.
Yeah, hope you guys can see that. Yeah, I can totally see it. Yeah, wow.
And our process really doesn't change that, but it's not always sonically an issue either. So that doesn't necessarily interject an impediment to pleasurable listening.
So literally, the off-gassing of the original sleeve produced that cloudiness.
Yes.
Wow.
So I get a lot of inquiries from people who, because for a period of time they were making inner sleeves of PVC. Well, logically that would make sense, right? The record's PVC, the sleeve is PVC. They should be compatible. They should be nearly void of generating friction because they're of like material. The problem is when you have an already heavily plasticized record to get to a level of flexibility, and then you add more plasticizers to get to a thin film state, there's so many plasticizers that they off-gas much more aggressively, and then they really start to imprint and cloud the albums. So
amazing.
That's not reversible. That's
just the way it is.
It's just the way it is. Sometimes there's audible issues. Sometimes, it plays pretty nicely. So here's another example. Fantasy Blue.
Yep.
You can see the the wrinkling of the sleeve.
Yes. Yep. Wow.
But this one does not seem to be. Yeah, there is some
a sheen. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see in the dead wax where there's no grooves. You can see that there is some clouding going on there.
Wow.
And that's not likely to change no matter what you do.
Wow. Fascinating. I guess you really see everything coming through here, don't you?
I do. I see quite a bit. We've done over 100,000 records.
100,000 records.
Yeah, wow. We've done over 100,000 records, and it's not just what comes through; it's what comes through in emails and in questions and things of that nature. One of the most frequent questions is I get at least once or twice a week people contacting me saying, "Hey, I've got this rare recording of my grandfather playing the piano
of course.
in a local tavern, and I would like to get it restored.
Can you do it?"
Or I have a record that was recorded of my grandfather sending his voice from the lines in World War II back to my grandmother, and we can't get it to play.
Wow.
Well, both of those are likely to be transcription type albums,
issues,
which are very similar to the lacquers that are cut to produce a pressed vinyl record. The thing is, we could not put either a cut vinyl record or a lacquer a cut lacquer through our process because it's not compatible with the lacquer surface. Same thing with those transcription records. There are other resources that will optically pull the information off, and then digitally clean it up. It's very expensive, but when you're talking about a priceless artifact, people are typically thrilled when I refer them to this other outfit that can help them out.
Now, interestingly enough, and I'm just interjecting here, the reason that you see two clear brand new records, this is John Halsall's latest record, came out last year, or actually earlier this year, is because the record itself has a very audible distortion. I just pressed stop. Sorry, guys. Cue the shit part out. It's got a very audible distortions on side 2, track 1 particularly, or excuse me, disc 2, track 1. And so what Steve is trying to do is basically giving it the full 12-hour bath.
Disaster
recovery process to see if it will reveal itself to be hopefully just dirt stuck in the grooves, or if it's a pressing defect. And of course, if it's a pressing defect, there's absolutely nothing that can save it or be done to it. But let's hope for the better and not the worse. So that's why you see two brand new records from John Halsall's latest record in there. That, by the way, is a record, Dave Brubeck, Las Vegas, live in Las Vegas. I've never ever seen that. Cover looks really cool. Picked it up randomly. Absolutely phenomenal. I forgot who's on there. Hang on a second. Who's on there on drums? It is Brubeck, obviously. Piano, Desmond sax. Oh, Joe Morello. Yes. The great Joe Morello on drums. Stunning. Oh, and this Vangelis. So if you ever watched the original Carl Sagan Cosmos, side 2, track 1 is the actual cut they used for it. But the whole record is fantastic. Of course, the great Vangelis, pioneer in electronic music in the 70s, much like Jean-Michel Jarre, Kraftwerk, and many, many others that don't come to mind on the time that they should. Bastards. So there's another tranche. So this is the third one that we have. Wow.
So that's 24.
It's packing up. And we've got, what, one more set left, I think? Ooh, Gene Ammons, yes.
Maybe a little bit more than maybe. Well, we'll see.
Gene Ammons. Love Gene Ammons. Spectacular. Would you see the great Lee Konitz with Warren Marsh, a 1955 Atlantic Mono original black label. Does it have shading or?
No, there's
no. Yeah.
No cloudiness.
Nice.
Looks good.
Yeah. Where else would you see the great Lee Konitz with Warren Marsh, followed by the equally great and stunning Christopher Cross? By the way, Rick Beato.
Love Rick Beato.
Yes, his videos are stunning.
He's great.
An intellectual, bar none, or second to none, I should say. He basically, as a matter of fact, I watched this video not too long ago. He purports that Christopher Cross is in fact one of the greatest guitarists to have ever lived, which is, frankly, I never heard of that. But if Rick Beato says it, I trust him. But it's obviously a great album, and even made greater by the fact that, again, it's preceded by the great Lee Konitz and Warren Marsh. I mean, that's the claim to fame. I mean, if Christopher Cross in 1987 would have known that his record is going to sit on top of the great Lee Konitz and Warren Marsh Atlantic Mono. I mean, he probably would have lost his marbles, but you know, we don't know that. If any of you guys know Christopher Cross, shoot me his number. I'll call him and I'll ask him about his opinion.
You know what that is?
The great Steve Evans, of course, is chuckling. He's like, what the fuck is this guy talking about here?
I'm
But
used to it.
yeah.
All familiar territory.
Yes.
Yeah.
What were you saying earlier? What is what?
You know what this is?
No.
That is how I continuously control static in the room. So these,
You're kidding.
you're familiar with the DS Audio
Yes.
ionizer?
Yes.
I have one on my rig. I can
Of
show
course.
you some.
Yep.
Fantastic device. Well, I can't have those everywhere in the processing room. They're fairly expensive items, but you can look to the electronics industry and buy these controllers and these ionizer bars, and basically what it's doing, it's showering in this case the records and the jackets with positive then negative ions.
You're kidding.
And it neutralizes the static. When I'm handling records that are sent to us, I take out, you're familiar with those white foam sheets that separate each record?
Yep.
There are times when I would set them down and they would like levitate.
Wow.
They would stand.
There's so much
practically-
electrical energy stored up.
Right, there's so
You're
much static
kidding.
electricity on the surface. So I installed one of those there. I've got a larger one in the area for where we repack the records. So you have your perfectly cleaned records come out of the dryer, and you put them into the inner sleeves that we provide. And I want to make sure that those are all static neutral.
Yep.
So I have ionizers over there, and
Unbelievable.
then I also have them on above my turntable to ensure that when I'm doing quality checks, I'm not hearing any static. Any surface noise I hear is true surface noise.
Can you measure that? To the folks tuning in, we actually had a wonderful...
Yes, I can.
Ooh, look at that. We had a wonderful philosophical question, or discussion, I should say, around high-end audio. What I call increasingly the art of bullshito. If you don't know the art of bullshito, you should look it up on YouTube. There's tremendous amount, a great body of work describing the art of bullshito, which I have thusly transcribed to the art of high-end audio. But anyway, hence the isms around can you measure it? Hey, part of MJQ right there. You can take the cover off too.
Yeah, so
The great Junior Mance.
you want to talk about more Bushido?
Yes.
And I get a lot of pushback when I speak to this topic, but this right here,
Bullshit.
sellers that advertise original shrink on the record,
Yes.
you typically are not doing your
Customers.
any favors.
Okay.
This does one thing through time and it does it very well. It shrinks. And this record seems pretty good, but it is not uncommon to see records arrive in original shrink like this. And that's exactly what it does to the vinyl inside. So you can keep buying records in original shrink wrap because you like the object more than you like the music. And that's your call. That's fair. Me, I like to remove the original
Rip it
shrink
apart.
every single time.
Rip it apart. We're ripping 56-year-old shrink. Oh my gosh, how can you do that? You're killing me.
And you can actually feel that it's brittle.
Yes.
It's different from when it was originally applied.
Very crunchy. Yes, 100%. Where's the trash? Trash is right here. Boom. Bye-bye. Nice. All right. So we're going into the vast empire of Steve Evans, into the disaster recovery room where there is purified water. Holy crap, look at that. Excuse the French, ladies and gentlemen. It literally, my goodness. Now, is this water or is this a solution?
It's water. It's lab grade purified water with cleaning solutions. Wow. So it's got detergents so that it loosens the contaminants on the record, and then it has surfactants so it lowers the surface tension so that we do get good coverage across the surface of the record, including going into the groove. You cannot achieve that unless you reduce the surface tension of the water. We let them soak anywhere from 12 to 24 hours. And then we use a true dual frequency commercial ultrasonic machine, cavitation cleaning machine. It's 40 and 80 kilohertz. We put the records on the spindle, it rotates very slowly, and what 40 and 80 kilohertz will do is it's really good at generating agitation. Doesn't do a lot of good getting deep into the groove, but it generates great cavitation. And because we've already softened the contaminants on the surface of the record, all we need right now is cavitation.
Yep.
Because this is going to get followed up with Archival 4.0, and that's where we get into the groove and start
Yep.
really optimizing the sound quality of the record.
Wow, amazing. So the records, ladies and gentlemen, the records are fully submerged. This is no trick. I'm gonna pop this open. As you can see right there, they're fully submerged in the solution. Crazy. Of course, the labels again are fully protected by a vacuum seal of the circular pucks that are sitting between each record. As you guys saw, Steve packed them up. No concern whatsoever. No water comes in there at all. And this is something we're gonna pick up tomorrow because it is about, what time is it? It's so late in the day that my watch turned off. It's 10:45. There you go, 10:45 p.m. We're gonna resume this tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. As always, your lovable host.
I want to keep them wet.
Okay.
You don't want anything to dry, so
Okay.
I'm going to store them or have them sit in this rinsing tank
Yep.
until they're ready for work.
Wow.
Okay.
Fully submerged. Now, what's in this solution?
That's just
Pure water. Got it. Yeah. Well, and here's the first charge of new records that are not getting disaster recovery, and they're in the tank, in the 135 kilohertz tank.
Now, this is now the multi-frequency.
Oh, this is already the multi. Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Right.
80, 135, and 220.
And how long does this take? This process?
Each step is about 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Wow. Wow. Incredible. There they are. This is where we can see all the magic happening. Amazing.